Hey everyone, it's me, Ben. I had a very good week 6. Now, week 7, man, this is going to be a very tough week for me to pick. So, let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Ben's Quick Picks. This is week 7 of the NFL, and last week I ended up having a good week 6. So, with that being said, let me show you how I did last week and show you my overall record for the 2023 season so far. And there you have it right there. Good week, 11-4, overall 63-20. But with that being said, we move on to week 7. This was a very tough week for me to pick these games. I'm sure it was tough for a lot of people who are picking straight up for these week 7 matchups. As you know, we got 6 buys, 6 teams with bye week, so it's just 13 games. So looking at the schedule this week, man, there's some that, I'm pretty confident in. There's some other ones that, boy, you can, flip a coin on some of these games. So let's get to it. But before we do, let me show you my week 7 picks and see what you guys think before I go over them. And there they are right there. So those are my week 7 picks. So let me go over them for you. Starting off with the Thursday night game. The Jacksonville Jaguars go down to New Orleans to play the New Orleans Saints. This is a very interesting matchup. We found out that Trevor Lawrence has dealing with a knee issue right now. As we're talking, he is listed as questionable, but I expect him to play tomorrow night. I believe this is his first game in New Orleans, first time he's played there, if I'm not mistaken. But this is going to be an interesting game. Now, New Orleans are coming off a tough loss at the Texans. I did pick Houston to beat New Orleans last week. On paper, this Saints team is very talented offensively, but, I've never really been a 100% believer in Derek Carr. Meanwhile, with Trevor Lawrence, he's starting to play a little bit better. So it's a Thursday night game, short week. Usually the road teams, it's tough for them, on a short week while New Orleans is at home. Conventional wisdom says take Jacksonville here. But I'm actually going to go New Orleans. And I just feel like for some reason they're finally going to get it together offensively. Now, I know Jacksonville's playing pretty well right now. But if you look at those 2 games, the Bills in London, Bills, they barely got by the Giants. And the Colts, they never seem to win in Jacksonville. Gardner Minshew had 4 interceptions. Now, that's Jacksonville has a good defense. But I just feel like this is one of those games where the Saints finally step it up. And, with Kamara, his 3rd week back, getting it go, his 4th week, I should say, getting it going again. At some point, they're going to try to get it going. And I think this is the week for them to finally light it up. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like New Orleans in this game. I'm going with the Saints over the Jaguars. I'm going with 27-24. It should be a very good game. All right, so now we're on to the Sunday's matchups. The morning games, we got the Detroit Lions going up against the Baltimore Ravens. This should be a fun game. Both teams are very good. I feel like, as for Detroit, they beat the Bucs. They beat my Bucs last week. Looked very strong. Jared Goff's playing really well right now. The defense for the Lions is playing really well. Meanwhile, the Ravens, their defense is playing really well, but their offense is kind of sputtering a bit. This is an interesting game. Again, this is one of those, do you go with the hot hand in Detroit? I mean, I wouldn't be against it. Why not? But with Baltimore, they're in Baltimore. It's always a tough environment to play in, especially for a team that's only going there once every 8 years. It's an out-of-conference game. Detroit, big win last week against Tampa. They faced a very good defense in the Bucks. But I think Baltimore's defense is a little bit better. And in these big games, I know Jared Goff's played in some of these, but, the other guys on his team haven't. This is a very tough game for them on the road, 2 weeks in a row being on the road. I'm actually going to go Baltimore here, just at home. I think their offense is, it's still a work in progress, but their defense is, I think, is going to do enough to hold off the Lions, I should say. So I'm going Baltimore here. I'm going to go 20-17 over the Lions. Should be a good game, low scoring, but I think the Ravens are going to take this one. All right, the Las Vegas Raiders go up to the Chicago Bears. Look, this is going to be an ugly game. Both teams, the Raiders are playing pretty good lately. Meanwhile, the Bears are just, garbage. And Justin Fields, he's out indefinitely. We don't know if he's going to play yet. Even if he does, I don't think it's going to be much, improvement. Listen, normally it's hard to pick the Raiders because some weeks they look great, some weeks they don't. Some weeks you think they're going to be doing well, and then they, lay an egg. Or some weeks you think, oh, they're going to lay an egg, but then they play well. But I am going to go with the Raiders here in this game because I just think the Bears are awful. I'm sorry, I just do. It's just going to be another loss for the Bears. And the Raiders, we don't know what Garoppolo's situation is. He left early with a back injury on Sunday, but Brian Hoyer's more than capable, and the Bears may be starting a guy named Tyler at quarterback. So give me the Raiders. They'll win this game. Let's go 24-13. All right. The Cleveland Browns visit the Indianapolis Colts. As we know, last week, the Browns, big win over the 49ers, gave the Niners their first loss. Meanwhile, the Colts went down to Jacksonville where they never win. And Gardner Minshew, playing for the injured Anthony Richardson, who, by the way, is going to have season-ending shoulder surgery. So it looks like it's going to be Minshew the rest of the way. He had a bad game. He had 4 interceptions. I went back and forth on this, and we don't know if Watson's going to play or not. He still may be out, so they may still go with P.J. Walker. But the Browns do have a very good defense. They still have a bit of a good running game. Meanwhile, the Colts with Minshew, it's kind of hit or miss. They got a good run game with, Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss. Is this the week that Taylor's finally going to break out, do well? I'm thinking he will. But Cleveland's defense is great. They were able to put it on the 49ers. Now, even though McCaffrey and Debo were out the majority of that game, Cleveland's defense is still very good. They were able to shut down, Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle for the most part. This Cleveland defense can play. And, I feel like maybe this could be a home win for the Colts here. But I'm actually going to go the Browns. I just think a better defense is going to, win this game. I know the Colts are pretty good at home, but I do like the Browns in this game. Even without Watson, they go with P.J. Walker. So give me the Browns 21-17 over the Colts. Should be a close game, but Cleveland's defense is going to do enough to win that game. All right, my Buccaneers host the Atlanta Falcons. Tough loss last week. Obviously, we only scored 6 points as an offense. Defensively, we kind of held our own against Detroit, but we were on the field way too long. Meanwhile, the Falcons lost to the Commanders. Desmond Ridder, I've said it. I've been saying it on other shows. I don't believe in him. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I don't think Arthur Smith's a great coach. They're just too one-dimensional. They rely too much on Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Never get Kyle Pitts involved enough, or Drake London. Meanwhile, they're going to be facing a much better defense in the Buccaneers, who stopped the run pretty well, who can also shut down the receiving corps. I know last week, not so much, but that was because they were on the field so long. The offense, too many 3-and-outs. Meanwhile, the Bucs, their offense, I'm still waiting for that run game, if we can get a run game going. But we do have our receivers, Evans, Godwin, Trey Palmer, our tight ends, Kate Otten, you know, Tompkins as well. And our offensive line's solid. Atlanta last week, offensively they struggled. They got to Desmond Ritter a lot, put a lot of pressure on him, and I expect the Bucks defense to do the same thing. So I'm gonna go Bucks here at home. It's not a homer pick. I believe the Bucks are a much better team than the Falcons. I don't believe in Atlanta. So give me the Bucks 27, the Falcons 17. All right. So we got the Commanders at the Giants, another division game, NFC East division game. Giants heartbreaking loss last week to the Bills. Questions about should that have been called in the end zone. Could have gave the Giants another opportunity, but the Giants had their chances, didn't take advantage of it, and they ended up losing to the Bills. Meanwhile, the Commanders' big win at Atlanta. I knew they would bounce back last week from that embarrassing loss on Thursday night previous week. This game's going to be closer than people expect because it's a division game. So I'm still going to go Commanders here. I think, a lot of people like the Giants, especially Tyrod Taylor playing well, but I'm actually going to go Commanders here. I just think, they're going to do enough defensively to slow down Tyrod Taylor, something that the Bills didn't do. And Sam Howell, he's going to find a way to play well. I still don't believe in the Giants' defense. Yeah, they played Buffalo pretty well. Took care of Josh Allen for the most part, but I don't expect that to last. So I got the Commanders winning this game. Give me 23-16. They'll win by a touchdown. All right, the Bills are at the Patriots. Another division game, AFC East. Buffalo squeaked one out against New York Giants last week. The Patriots continue to struggle as always, losing to the Raiders last week. They're 1-5. Now, this could be a trap game. The Bills not playing well lately. They're squeezing by wins. Meanwhile, New England just can't, squeeze by anything. They can't even win on accident. So you would think that the Patriots, maybe they're due, right? Nah. I think Buffalo's going to win this game. They're going to play better than they did last week. This is kind of a wake-up call for them. Now, I still don't think the Bills are a team that's going to win a Super Bowl or get to a Super Bowl, but they should be able to take care of the Patriots. Offensively, it might be close for a while, but I think in the end, Buffalo pulls away in the second half. Give me the Bills 24, the Patriots 14. All right, let's go to the afternoon games. The Steelers are at the Rams. Steelers coming off a bye week. They had that big win over Baltimore a couple weeks ago. The Rams, for the first half, struggled with the Cardinals a little bit, but they took care of business the rest of the way to get the win last week. This is going to be a pretty interesting game. History has shown the Steelers have struggled in LA, like 2-5 their last 7 trips to LA, whether it's been the Rams, Chargers, the old Raiders, or whatever. For the Steelers, they don't have much of an offense, but they do have a great defense. And for the Rams, their running back situation is not good. Kyron Williams is going to be out. So that leaves, the offense limited. They're going to be doing a lot of passing, obviously, with Cooper Kupp and Pinocchio, their rookie. Great defenses can beat good offenses. And the Rams have a decent defense, but not great. They're going to have to put up a lot of points. But the Steelers have a great defense that can get to the quarterback, put a lot of pressure on him. And they're going to put a lot of pressure on Stafford. So I'm actually looking at the Steelers to beat the Rams in this game. I like the Steelers over the Rams. Give me Pittsburgh 20, the Rams 17. It's going to be a close game. Again, the Steelers don't have much of an offense, but they have a great defense that will shut a very good offense down. So I like the Steelers over the Rams. All right, the Cardinals at Seahawks. There's not much to say here. The Cardinals aren't a very good football team. Yeah, they beat Dallas, but that was their only win. And Seattle, tough loss against Cincinnati last week on the road, but I expect a bounce-back game for the Seahawks. So yeah, I'm going Seattle 24, the Cardinals 10. All right, big game of the week here. Chargers at the Chiefs, another division matchup. AFC West. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my upset pick. I'm actually going to go Chargers over the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been squeaking by lately. Yeah, they made the trade recently for to get back Hardman from the Jets, so they had another receiver. However, I just get this. This is a gut feeling. The Chargers, I know, lost a tough one last week to the Cowboys on Monday night, but I got a feeling that the Chargers, for some reason, I can see them pulling this out in KC. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my upset pick. The Chargers over the Chiefs. 24-21. You heard me right. That's my upset pick. So let me go with the Chargers. All right. The Packers and Broncos. Packers coming off their bye week. The Broncos continue to struggle. They gave Kansas City a run for their money last week. Wasn't enough. Another tough game. This is a coin flip. But I'm actually going to go Denver here. Another gut feeling. Just because I think at some point Denver's got to win a game here. They got a lot of talent. They're not utilizing it right. Russell Wilson can't continue to play this bad. In Green Bay, it just seems like you expect him to win, but maybe it's because they've been letting me down lately. I don't know, but I'm going to go Denver here. I might be wrong on this, but I'm going Broncos for the upset over the Packers, 19-17. That's my upset pick right there. So I got two upsets. Chargers at the Chiefs and Broncos beating the Packers. All right, the Sunday night game is probably the most anticipated matchup of the week. The Miami Dolphins go up to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now the Dolphins keep dominating offensively, beating the Panthers last week. Going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, who got beat by the Jets last week. I think we kind of knew eventually the Eagles would fall. There we are. Speaking of falling, my camera phone. So the Eagles lost last week to the Jets. Didn't look very well. They haven't really looked very well the last few weeks, but they've been getting by. The Dolphins, meanwhile, keep dominating and showing how good they are offensively. Defensively, the Dolphins do give up some points. They make up for it with a great offense. And the Eagles, they have a good offense as well, really good offense. And a Sunday night matchup in Philly, tough road game, for the Dolphins, at least defensively. But I'm actually going to go Eagles here. I know a lot of people like the Dolphins in this matchup. They're seeing that Philly's kind of fallen, but I think Philly's going to get by. They're going to do just enough, start to play better. I love Miami's offense, but their defense can be a little suspect. And you're going up against a very good Eagles team, at least offensively. The question will be, can the Eagles slow down the Dolphins? I think their defense is good enough to do that. But this is going to be a high-scoring game, I believe. So I'm going to go Eagles 30, Miami 28. Should be a very good game. I expect it to be a good game, so give me the Eagles over the Dolphins. And finally, the Monday night game, the 49ers against the Minnesota Vikings. Niners coming off a tough loss last week in Cleveland, their first one of the year. Meanwhile, the Vikings continue to struggle. I'm just going to say it. I'm going 49ers here over the Vikings. There's not much to say. Minnesota's just struggling. They can't seem to get it going. Kirk Cousins is, despite playing decent, they're missing Justin Jefferson. I thought last week that would hurt him against the Bears. Apparently not, but it was the Bears. Niners aren't going to lose 2 in a row. Even if they're going to miss some guys, they're going to right the ship, play hard. It's 2 weeks in a row on the road, but the Niners are just too talented. So give me San Francisco over Minnesota on Monday Night Football, 23-13. So there you have it. Those are my Week 7 picks. Couple upsets here, rolling the dice a little bit. So one more time, let me show you my Week 7 picks, see what you guys think. See if you agree, disagree on some of the picks that I made, some of the upsets. Just let me know in the comments section. So here it is. Well, there you have it. Those are my week 7 picks one more time. So let's see what happens this week. Taking some risk here, but hey, sometimes you got to do that. And I'm not afraid to take any risk right now, especially being 63-30. Just some gut feelings on a couple of games. Let's see if it turns out my way. If it doesn't, then it is what it is. But with that being said, that'll do it for this episode of Ben's Quick Picks. So everybody enjoy your week 7. See how you guys do. We'll see how I do, and we'll be back here next week for the week 8 edition of Ben's Quick Picks. Enjoy your weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next time on Ben's Quick Picks. Take care.